on our mats as we lay in Shavasana, noticing as we fill the rib cage up with air. On that inhale, how expansive the breath can be. And on the exhale, allowing the body to melt into the ground. Continuing these slow, deep breaths. On our next inhale, I'll ask that we reach our arms long up over our head. Perhaps they touch the floor, or maybe they're still raised. Noticing how this feels as we expand even further through the ribs, opening through chest and shoulders. Taking our right hand, I want you to grab a hold of that left wrist and pull the left arm towards the right. So we're just lengthening that left side of the body ever so gently, noticing how this feels as we open up along the left side of the arm. And then we'll switch, using the left hand to grab a hold of right wrist, pulling that right arm longer. With any position we take today in our class, being sure to listen to the body, make any modifications, taking any variation of each stretch. Coming through the middle, go ahead and release both arms, taking our time as we gather our knees into our chest, taking a wonderful hug as we hold shins or thighs, whichever is more comfortable, gently rocking side to side. A moment of gratitude. First of all, let's thank ourselves for taking the time out of our busy schedules to take care of our mind, body, and spirit. And as we continue to hold on to those legs, rolling the ankles, releasing the joints, encouraging blood flow through the toes, let's also just take a moment to thank ourselves for taking advantage of the opportunity, being grateful for the practice, being grateful for our bodies, our health. Let's keep a hold of our right knee. As we lower the left leg all the way down to the ground, we pull the right knee out towards right shoulder. A moment where we're stretching across our hips, focusing on our breathing again. And at any point, if we notice our thoughts are starting to wander, we need to come back into the practice itself, just paying attention to the breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. Slowly releasing that right leg to the floor. On your next inhale, we draw the left knee up into the chest, and we'll open that knee out towards the left shoulder, pressing the right leg firmly into the mat. Again, use your breathing to help us stay calm, stay relaxed, and stay present. Not worrying about what happened before or after the yoga practice today, worrying about what's going on right now in our body. Lowering that leg down. Feet are on the ground, knees are bent, placing them about hips width distance apart. Heels are relatively close to the bottom as we prepare for bridge flow. Arms are on the ground, roll those shoulders into the mat. Let's activate those abdominal muscles as we inhale, lift the hips high to the sky. And exhale, slowly lower. Noticing one vertebrae at a time, coming down to the ground. Now adjust the feet as necessary to be comfortable with those knees. And we'll do a few more of these, just moving at your own pace. Inhale to lift the body and exhale to lower. Noticing how this feels on our back, how this feels on the hips as we activate the glutes and stretch the hip flexors. And are we carrying a lot of tension or a lot of stress up through the shoulders and neck? How long can we keep our necks today as we take this last bridge? Exhale to release that down. Very nice. Drawing both knees up about 90 degrees. Shins are parallel with the floor. Abdominal muscles are active. I want you to imagine a wet sponge. We're squeezing the water out of the sponge. That's the sort of contraction through the abdomen I want today. Hands to the side of head as we Tilt the chin, lifting head and shoulders up. This is optional. Please keep the head down if your neck is at all sore. With our toe taps, we inhale, right foot taps down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, left foot taps down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale. Let's continue this at our own pace. Noticing that we are in control of the leg movement, leaving the knee at about a 90-degree knee bend, isolating the movement from the hip itself, keeping the abdominal muscles strong. I'll invite us to do 2 more on each leg, activating through the core, working through the hips. And as soon as we finish, we can rest the head, the hands, and the feet back down to the ground. Crossing our right ankle over left knee when we're ready, coming into our figure 4 stretch. I like to make sure that I haven't rocked open in the hips, reestablishing neutral alignment. Right and left sides are even on the mat, gently pressing that right knee open, noticing the stretch that we might be feeling through the hips. If this feels good, I want us to stay here. If we need just a little bit more today, threading hands underneath the left thigh. Trying to keep the shoulders relatively calm, the neck long, and notice that right knee trying to press away from the body, stretching through the outside of the right hip. Slowly releasing both feet back down to the mat. And left foot crosses over, finding figure 4. Let's do the same progressions here, making sure we haven't tilted. Nice long neutral lines. Maybe we press the knee open, or perhaps we're threading hands around that right thigh, drawing the legs up. If it's available to you, you can use your left elbow to press the left knee away from the face even more. Noticing what's happening through our neck and shoulders, the muscles through the jaw, the eyes. Can we soften those facial features? One more big inhale. And exhale, lowering the feet down. Very good. Little windshield wipers, releasing any tension through the hips, the knees, the back. Very nice. On our next inhale, I want us just to start rocking up. And let's take our time here as we come all the way over onto hands and knees into tabletop position. We place hands directly beneath our shoulders, spreading fingers, softening elbows. Knees are directly beneath our hips, keeping our feet long and relaxed. Now let's be aware of those abdominal muscles, pulling belly buttons up, flattening shoulders, keeping those backs as if we were to balance a teapot on top, not spilling a drop. Let's prepare for spinal balance. Extending right arm forward, thumb faces up to the ceiling, pressing left foot back behind us. Notice the balance and lower down. Inhale, left arm and right leg. Now I'm reaching it up parallel to the floor. Please feel free to keep the leg and the foot a little bit lower if that's preferred today. Ready? Let's move with our breathing. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. Inhale, left. Exhale. Inhale, right. How still can we be? Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, we're going to add on. Inhale, right arm, left leg, hold it here. Again, we can definitely just tap down to the floor if that's better for anybody. Taking songbird, I'll get us to press the knee towards the elbow underneath the body and inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch the knee to elbow. Inhale, extend. Exhale, crunch. Abdominal muscles tight. Extend. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. One more time. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, extend. And exhale, release. Inhale, left arm, right leg. Let's hold it here. Preparing for that crunch. For songbird, we draw the elbow and knee towards one another. Inhale, reach nice and long. Exhale, crunch under the belly. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch, activate the core. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, reach. We're extending through hip and shoulder. One more. Exhale, reach. Inhale, long, 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 and relax. Holding hands under shoulders, taking cows and cats, my favorite stretch. We untuck the tailbone, opening chest, looking forward, big inhale. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back, belly buttons drop. Inhale, open the chest, tall through crown of head. Exhale, round the back, draw those belly buttons in. Inhale, open. Notice where we're feeling the most sensation. Exhale, round. How high can we be? Inhale, open, last time through cow. Exhale, round up all the way to cat. Holding tabletop. Preparing for puppy dog. Puppy dog is a modified position, resting between child's pose and down dog. We reach our hands forward to the top of our mat, keeping our tailbone as high as possible. We're going to sit it up as we drop the chest low. Perhaps our forehead touches the floor. Maybe our chin. I want us just to play with this. Perhaps you feel like you need to walk your hands out farther, lift your hips up more. It's almost like we're building a slide or a ramp out of our back. Notice what we're feeling through the shoulders, the chest, down our backs. Now slowly, I want us to reach the stomach up off the ground, walk the hands back in, and settle back into child's pose. Child's pose, we want our hips coming down as low as possible, our hands extended forward, and our heads down. Some of us will actually get the foreheads to touch the floor. Please don't make this, an expectation. In yoga, there is no expectation. There is no judgment. There is no competition. I want you to listen to the body, and if that means holding a child's pose higher, if that means coming down lower today than usual, I want you to listen, and I want us to really find the position that works for us today. Now, while we're here, go ahead and walk both hands over to the right side of your mat, placing the left hand on top, and then pull back into that left hip past the left shoulder. Notice any stretch, any sensation we might experience. Breathe into that area. Good. Let's slowly walk our hands over to the left side of our mat. Right hand comes on top as we pull past that right shoulder. Slowly walking our hands in. Taking our time as we curl our toes, lift our hips all the way up to down dog. Pressing our hands firmly into the mat. We lift our tailbones up really nice and tall, sending the tailbone as far back away from our hands as possible. Now, as we look back at our feet, we're going to notice that they're only placed roughly hips width distance apart. And we're also going to take note of how far away our heels are from the ground themselves. Is there a watermelon between foot and floor, a golf ball, or a piece of paper? Just something to become aware of. Now, while we're here, let's go ahead and walk the dog, pedaling from right to left foot. Massaging through the arches, playing with toe to heel, maybe even big toe to little toe, perhaps bending the knees as we really encourage circulation of the blood all the way through to those heels. Now let's go ahead and shake the head no, loosening up tension from the neck and shoulders. And then I'll ask that we nod the head yes, finish on a positive. Good. Slowly, let's walk our hands and feet together to the top of our mat. Now here, we draw hands to shins or thighs, working backs flat, parallel to the floor in our monkey position. Monkey is very similar to tabletop, but now instead of being on hands and knees, we're just on our feet. Drawing those hands in, and I want us to take our shoulders and pull them so that teapot can very stable rest on the back. Hold it here, slight knee bend in the knees. Shift the weight back into our heels, finding chair pose. Hands can reach up tall or come down through heart center, whatever's more comfortable on the shoulders. And as we do so, we're bending the knees fairly significantly here, shifting that weight further back into hips and heels, activating our thighs to really encourage some heat building. We may feel the heart rate or the breathing start to rise. That's okay, that's a good response. On our next inhale, take that big breath and lift our arms tall. Exhale, release. Very nice. Please feel free to grab a drink of water if you'd like one. We're going to be standing at the top edge of our mat as we come through a couple of sun salutations. In sun sal, we will be standing and then going back down to the floor. Please feel free to do this at your own time if my version is too quick today. So with our feet coming directly beneath our hips, shoulders roll down, palms facing forward, soft through the knees. This is Tadasana, mountain pose. With our first big breath in, we inhale, lift the hands up nice and high to prayer. Exhale, hinging from the hips. We come all the way down into forward fold. Inhale, lift halfway up into monkey. Exhale, releasing into forward fold. Bending the knees, placing the hands on either side of feet, we step back into plank position. Plank is on hands and toes. At any point, this can be done from the knees as well. We're going to press back through down dog or child's pose, if anyone would prefer to substitute down dog for child's today. We'll inhale forward into plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Again, this can be done with knees on the floor. Inhale, cobra. Slight chest lift. Feel free to come all the way up if that's preferred today. We press back through down dog or child's pose. And to finish the sequence, we walk our feet and hands together at the top of our mat, coming halfway up to monkey. Soften the knees, big inhale, lift tall, and we do it again. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, releasing through forward fold, softening the knees, hands come to the mat. Stepping back into plank position. Press back all the way, down dog or child's. Inhale forward into plank, full or modified with knees on the floor, and we exhale, lower the body. This is chaturanga. Inhale, scooping up for cobra. Exhale, pushing back into down dog or child's. Slowly walking hands and feet together at the top of our mat, coming halfway up to monkey. Soften the knees, big inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. One more time, we exhale, swan dive into forward fold. Last time through sun sal. Inhale, halfway up to monkey. Exhale, releasing down into forward fold. Softening the knees, we step back into plank. Press all the way back, down dog or child's. Inhale forward into plank. Exhale, chaturanga, slow lower. Inhale, scooping up for cobra. Exhale, pressing back, downward dog. Slowly walking hands and feet together at top of mat. Halfway up to monkey. Softening those knees, big inhale, sweep. This time, exhale, finish in chair pose, sitting back through the heels, reaching those arms up nice and tall. Couple breaths here, really encouraging a little bit of an increase in that heart rate, feeling the body warmed up. Big inhale to release that. And exhale, relax. Phenomenal. Take a couple big breaths, either standing tall in Tadasana or by grabbing a drink of water, just reestablishing our posture. Shoulders down, hips stacked right on top of feet, rolling through the arches, ensuring big toe, little toe, inner and outer edges of the heels on the ground. Taking our warrior series, we leave the right foot planted and we sweep the left foot back into warrior one. Warrior one, this is a very peaceful posture. We place the feet so that they're evenly pressing down through the floor, heels and toes, rocking our weight forward into the right knee, arms lift high. At any point, if the preference for arms is low, we'll find heart center instead. Now, as we continue to hold warrior one, I want us to be aware of strong legs, just narrow here. So the feet are placed roughly hips width distance apart, but imagine that there's a gymnastics balance beam on the ground, and we've just got our feet on the very edges of that balance beam. So it's quite narrow. However, if our balance is a little wonky today, feel free to step the feet wider. Continuing to bend that right knee forward. We're going to take just a couple more breaths. Notice how tall we feel, how sturdy, how stable. We start to straighten that front leg, hands to the hips, preparing for pyramid. Hinging forward, chest reaches over the top of that shin. As soon as we feel a stretch, I want us to just stop here. Whether it's hands resting on thigh, perhaps we come down to shin, foot, or even some of us may be able to touch the floor. I just want to remind everyone that there is no competition or expectation in yoga. Please listen to the body, keep the back as flat as you possibly can, and really find the best place to hold the posture in order to find a stretch behind the knee. You may also experience some stretch up that back left calf, depending on how far you're able to press the heel into the floor, how much pressure you can apply. Still focusing on those deep breaths. Beginning to come out of this stretch, we're going to come into a balance. I want us to bend the knee in order to take the hands to the floor in front of the foot, lifting our back left leg up about parallel to the ground. That right knee is soft, allowing the right leg to remain perpendicular to the floor. This is our tripod position. Tripod with 1, 2 hands, and the third point is our foot. If anyone would like to come into our balanced half moon, we're going to open that left hip towards the ceiling, lifting that left hand up off of the floor. We can try this, we can have fun with it, we can experiment. Great for those oblique muscles, feeling lots of strength happening as we open through the hips and strengthen through the right inner thigh. And if we're staying in tripod as a preference, just noticing how strong we can be in that single leg balance. Let's all slowly start to draw feet together, bending the knees significantly, coming up halfway to monkey, working on those graceful transitions between poses. That's very specific to our style of yoga we're practicing today, Vinyasa. From here, go ahead, bend the knees, big inhale, lift up. Exhale, release the arms. Good. Readjusting on our mat as necessary to take our right foot directly behind into warrior one. Repeating that warrior series. We leave the hips facing front, gluing the heels, spreading out through the toes. And as we lift those arms, we relax the shoulders. We can bend a little bit more through that left knee, zip up a little bit stronger, a little bit higher, all the way through the middle of our body. Now, I haven't really prompted it today, but at any point, if we want to try closing our eyes, just removing that visual stimulus, noticing how that might affect our balance. Couple more nice big breaths. Becoming aware of the sensation in our body. Feeling grounded, feeling strong. Let's release our hands down. Straightening out the legs, finding pyramid. Hips and shoulders facing directly forward over that left knee. Hinging at the hips. As soon as we feel sensation, we stop. Never forcing a stretch. Never coming into a position that we think we're supposed to be in. but rather we listen to the body, we modify, we take an inhale to experience the position, and then we take that exhale to really relax into that stretch. Noticing how this left side feels. Maybe it's very similar to our right leg. And maybe we're noticing quite a difference from right side to left side. Yoga gives us the gift of time, being able to take our body scans to check in with each section of our muscles. Now, from our pyramid pose, we're going to get ready for that balance. Slowly bending that front knee as we walk our hands forward, finding our tripod. Right leg becomes parallel to the floor. Left leg is perpendicular with a soft knee. Please feel free to stay in tripod, working on this position. Otherwise, go ahead and open up the right hip, maybe even lifting that right hand off the ground and up towards the ceiling. Activating obliques, inner thighs, stretching across the hips with strong core muscles. This is a balanced half moon. Couple more breaths if we're able to. Not getting frustrated with balance, but just experimenting. One more inhale. And on our exhale, we gather feet and hands down, slowly taking our time, coming halfway up to monkey. Hands pressing into shins, bringing shoulder blades together in the back, reaching tailbones long away from crown of head. Slowly softening our knees. Big inhale, lifting up. And exhale, release the arms. Very good. Take our time. Please feel free to grab another drink. We're going to work our way again to the top of our mat, preparing for our next warrior series. Reestablishing Tadasana. We're taking our left foot behind us again. Through warrior one, we're now opening up into warrior two. Bending into that right knee. You'll notice as you look at my back that I've got my hips and my shoulders facing the back wall. Arms and legs are as wide as they can be, pushing away from the back edge of the left foot in towards the right toes. Knee stacked on top of ankle. We're really trying to be open here. While we hold this, taking our right hand up, lifting tall into reverse warrior. Right arm reaches as we continue to press into that right knee, open across hips and shoulders. We may feel a stretch up the side body as we expand through the lats and rib cage. Taking one more inhale through warrior two, exhale waterfall all the way down to the floor. As best as we can, work our way back into plank position. Please do this as your body needs to, before slowly working our way through chaturanga, all the way down to the mat. Inhale, lifting up through cobra. Baby or fold, soft elbows, long neck. Take our time as we press back in through child's pose or down dog. Whichever position our body's asking for or needs at this point in our practice. Noticing that with all of our flows, our graceful transitions, we've recruited a lot of different muscle groups, working synergistically together to support our postures. This has caused our heart rate to increase, our bodies to warm, our breathing rate to raise as well. Just noticing this, notice how it feels. And take our time, let's walk hands and feet together, coming up to the very top of our mat, and we lift halfway up to monkey. Drawing those shoulders together, soft knees, slowly softening the knees even more as we inhale, reverse swan dive, lift tall up to prayer. Exhale, release the arms down. Coming up to the top edge if we didn't quite get there, reestablishing Tadasana. Grounded on 2 feet, very tall, strong through the torso, feeling as sturdy and stable as a mountain. With our warrior series on the left leg, we reach that right foot all the way back behind us. Pressing through warrior one, we find our feet, we find our balance. Go ahead and lift our arms up nice and tall, rotating open into warrior two. So now you'll see in my front view, with both heels on that line down the middle of your mat, imaginary or in my case, real. Hips and shoulders stacked, not tilted. Belly button, center of chest, nose facing directly front at the beginning. Let's reach that front knee over top of the ankle. Try not to let it collapse in. Good. Arms are there whenever you're ready to do so. Remembering heart center is a fantastic option. Continuing to leave nose facing same direction as bellies, or nose can be same direction as the left toes and left kneecap. Preparing for that reverse warrior. Taking our left hand, big reach up tall. Continuing to bend forward into the left knee, lifting all the way through that left side body, an amazing stretch. Ever so gentle as we reach that right hand down. Try not to lean or grip. From reverse warrior, we're taking a big inhale to lift up through warrior two. Exhale, spiral down to the mat, sweeping through plank. Finding our plank position, and then chaturanga, slow, controlled, lower. Inhale, lifting up through cobra. And whenever we're ready to do so, pressing back in through down dog or child's. Noticing this time if perhaps our hands and feet are a little bit farther away from each other. If we're in down dog, are the heels closer to the floor? Remember, I asked at the beginning just to take a little visual measurement of how close the heels were. Slow our breathing. Very nice. Take our time. We're going to reach forward and through tabletop. From tabletop, we're sweeping our legs around, facing the front. Feel free to stay seated right on the middle of your mat or wherever it's best in your room. We're going to start with our forward fold in staff pose. With the seated posture, we take a big inhale, lift our arms up nice and tall. Exhale, reach forward over the legs. And as soon as we feel a stretch, we can release the hands, whether they are resting on legs, around feet, or on the floor, trying to keep those backs long. And then I like, with an extra added stretch, tucking the chin into the chest, lengthening up the backs of the neck. Just see how low, how relaxed we can be. Slowly rolling up. Now from our seated forward fold, I want us to open up into a seated straddle. With our seated straddle, please feel free to take a very narrow straddle. This is just a split. For some of us, it's more comfortable to be wide, just ensuring that we're still comfortable on those sits bones and the knees are relatively straight, whatever that means for you. Heels are on the ground, toes facing up to the ceiling. I want us to take our hands just in front of the pelvis and very gently start to walk the hands forward. As soon as we feel a stretch, that's where we stop. We want the stretch to be slightly uncomfortable, but never painful. Keeping those sits bones and tailbones reaching back behind. Noticing every time we exhale, maybe we just get a little bit farther. That might be millimeters. Maybe it's a little bit more every time we come in through that exhale. Noticing where the hands are. Noticing how low we are. Perhaps noticing if we've triggered a fight or flight response and we're feeling quite guarded. Taking that long exhale. Remind yourself that you're okay. You're very safe. And you're welcome to come out of a stretch at any point. Slowly walking in. Try to keep the legs where they are for a moment. Good. Now let's shake the legs out. Good. Drawing them all the way in. Crossing our right foot up, maybe to the outside of the left knee, or perhaps it stays on the inside. Sitting up ever so tall as we find our seated spinal twist. Left elbow can connect or hug the right leg as we look over that right shoulder. Again, I'll ask that we just really focus on sitting tall. Ooh, and play with how that arm is being held, whether the hand is high or low, to help stretch through the upper back and shoulder. Just be mindful of if that left shoulder has now crept up towards the shin. Let's try to keep it low. Long necks, open collars, retracted shoulder blades in the back. Slowly releasing front. Take our time coming out of it. Rotations are big movements. We want to be careful. Drawing that left foot in and stay on the inside or cross to the outside of that right knee. Sitting up ever so tall, shoulder roll down as we start to use the abdominal muscles to twist, rotating backwards. Remember, forcing that left hand is simply on the ground to help us, like a kickstand. It's not doing the torquing. And then continuing with this right shoulder down, use that right elbow just as a prop against the knee, bringing the center of our collarbones around towards the back of the room. Nice, easy breath. And releasing forward, taking those legs out long. I'll ask that now we draw the feet in, finding butterfly. Soles of feet pressed together, gluing the 10 toes in towards one another. Trying to keep the heels pressing in as well, holding onto ankles, sitting up nice and tall. Noticing if the heels are close to the body, if this is okay on the knees. If it's a little bit uncomfortable, go ahead and walk the feet out a little bit further today. I want us to start to hinge forward, flat back. We can use the elbows to prop those knees down a little bit more, or simply tuck the elbows into the body. And just like our forward fold, feel free to leave the backs flat or tuck the chin, rounding the upper backs, allowing those necks to get a little bit longer. Slowing our breath. Slowly rolling up. Now just sitting comfortably, whether that's remaining in butterfly, coming to crisscross, or maybe just having the legs out. I want us to find that neutral spinal alignment as we prepare to stretch our necks, just relieving a little bit more upper neck tension. Taking our right ear over towards right shoulder. Feel free to push away that left arm. Play with whether that left arm needs to go a little bit farther behind us. Maybe we need to tuck the chin slightly down, maybe more in or away from the neck. Just lengthening the outside of the neck. On our next inhale, coming through the middle. And exhale, left ear over towards left shoulder. That right arm is available to press away. Again, maybe just playing with the angle of the arm, drawing it farther back or pushing it farther out, and maybe changing the angle of the neck, the chin tuck. Noticing how that affects the stretch, where the sensation localizes. Slowly releasing that up. Okay, a couple big shoulder rolls. Taking the shoulder rolls forward and back, so switching directions if we haven't already. And now finding that neutral position to take our last few deep breaths. The posture recommended in yoga classes is with knuckles on the legs, the palms open and relaxed, perhaps pointer finger and thumb pressing together, allowing us to draw the shoulders down, not necessarily sitting comfortably, but sitting proud and with dignity. Really finishing our practice on a very positive and proud note. And as we do so, I want us to relax the abdomen as best we can as we're sitting tall. And notice that every time we take an inhale, we're allowing the stomach to relax and fill forward. And on that exhale, just drawing the bellies in towards the back. Doing this a few times. One more big breath in here. And now with this final breath, we'll raise our hands together up above head to prayer. Exhaling, hands down through heart center. Thank you so much, everyone. Namaste. Wonderful job. Thank you so much for participating.